Hello everyone, I feel extremely honored to have this opportunity to make my presentation here today. My article title is A Study on Out of Hospital First Aid for Patients Who Recovery of Spontaneous Circulation After Cardiac Arrest in Korea. Introduction. Out of hospital cardiac arrest is a significant health problem with an increasing prevalence and a reported incidence rate of 98 in 100,000 individuals in North America and 52 in uh, 100,000 individuals in Asia. The number of patients with OHCA is increasing in Korea, but the patients show a low survival rate and a discharge rate of less than 10%. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation on emergency treatment to rescue state a patient with cardiac arrest is the most basic and crucial emergency treatment and can increase the survival rate after a cardiac arrest. The administration of CPR by the observer of a cardiac arrest event increases the survival rate of the patient compared with that of patients not receiving CPR. Therefore, the performance of high-quality CPR and appropriate application of a defibrillator are key to the effective rescue patients with OHCA because the occurrence of a cardiac arrest is unpredictable. The administration of CPR by the first observer until an ambulance arrives is vital for the patient's survival. To facilitate the provision of emergency medical services, the Fire Department of Korea established emergency service providers in 1982 and an emergency treatment system that enabled the paramedics to administer professional CPR at the site of a cardiac event. Regarding patient survival, basic and professional CPR before hospital transport are pivotal to increasing the rate of CPR administration, as the initial response and treatment initiation are important in the prognosis of a patient with an acute cardiac arrest. National statistics of acute cardiac arrest have been used since 2011. This study aims to analyze data from patients with OHCA with discovery of spontaneous circulation who were transferred to a hospital in Korea in an ambulance. The study analyzes the outcomes by focusing particularly on the identification of a cardiac arrest by the public, administration of basic CPR, and administration of professional CPR by an EMS staff. The study further investigates the factor affecting the rescue citation rate in this the patients by analyzing the emergency treatment administered by observers and the professional party paramedics. In addition, the present study highlights the need for emergency treatments to increase the res- resuscitation rate in the patients and provide basic data to improve the quality of CPR training. Research design. The study analyzed data from patients with OHCA with ROSC who were registered in the National Statistical Data of Gangwon Fire Headquarters Korea from January 1 to December 31, 2019. The dispatch log for patients with cardiac arrest, EMS operation log, and emergency treatment status log were used in the analysis. Because these data of the Gangwon Fire headquarters are open to the public, this do not include any personally identifiable information. The study was conducted according to the guidelines of the Declaration of Helsinki and approved by the Institutional Review Board of Gangwon University. The data used in this data were data from the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, regionally recognized surgical acute cardiac arrest survey data. Data collection procedures. The data required for this study were extracted from the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nationally recognized that is acute heart failure survey. Data of silent clients with OHCA were collected from the public information database of the Gangwon Fire Headquarters. The collected data include no personal information that could lead to the identification of the individual. The daily log of emergency activities obtained from the fire station include data on the time and place of the first finding of the patient. The observer administered CPR initiation times, whether the observer performed defibrillation, dispatch log for patients with cardiac arrest, EMS operation log, and emergency treatment status log. Data analysis method. Descriptive data statistics were analyzed using the SPSS version 24 software package. Data were analyzed using the t-test and the analysis of variance tests. Ethical considerations. This study was conducted in accordance with the Declaration of Helsinki. Gangwon University Institutional Review Committee approved exemption. Research results. General characteristic of the patient with ROCA. The majority of the patients were male. The percent of patients with ROSC was highest in the age group of 41 to 50 years, followed by those of 51 to 60 years and 61 to 70 years. The distribution of the places of cardiac arrest was 54.1% for public areas, 36.5% non-public areas, and 1.4% unknown. The medical history of the patient included heart disease in 27%, hypertension in 18.9%, and diabetes or other afflictions in 8.1%. The rate of witnessing cardiac arrest was high. Basic first aid for witnesses. The following are the characteristics of an observer who found a patient with cardiac arrest. 78.4% of the events were family, co-workers, and acquaintances. 12.2% were on-call medical personnel, and 9.5% were off-duty medical personnel. Cardiac arrest was observed in 83.8% of cases, whether not in 9.5% of cases. 6.8% of the incidents remained unknown. In 90% of cases, the witness performed CPR, and in 5.4% of the cases, the witness did not perform CPR. The remaining 4.1% of events are unknown. Witness did not use a defibrillator in 86.4% of the incidents, whether they used a defibrillator in 13.5% of the incidents. Regarding the provision of medical guidance prior, prior to the arrival of the ambulance, 66.2% of the cases received medical guidance from the Comprehensive Situation Center. 4.1% received medical guidance from paramedics. Difference in the rate of CPR or defibrillation performance by the observers based on the place of cardiac arrest. The performance of CPR depending on the place of the cardiac arrest event was highest in an ambulance with a score of 3, followed by a non-public place with a score of 2.93 and a public place with score of 2.81. There was no significant difference among the analysis group. Difference in defibrillation rate by witness by location of cardiac arrest. According to the location of cardiac arrest by witness, the ambulance was the highest with 2.71 points, followed by public place with 2.10 points and non-public places with 2.04 points. The difference was significant. Difference in basic emergency treatment based on the observer's relationship with the patient. According to the location of cardiac arrest by witness, the ambulance was the highest with 2.71 points, followed by public places with 2.10 points and non-public places with 2.04 points. The differences were significant. General characteristic of the EMS and the analysis of emergency treatment. Among the general characteristics of the EMS, the inclusion of leading professional care providers among the EMS staff in an ambulance was as follows. A level 1 paramedic in 58.1% of the events, a level 2 paramedic in 28.4% of the events, and a nurse in 13.5% of the events. The number of staff that boarded the ambulance was 2 in 74.3% of the events and 3 in 25.7%. The emergency treatment performed by the paramedics was considered as a multi-response problem. Defibrillation using an automated external defibrillator was performed in 100% of the events. CPR was administered in 98.6% of the events. Chest compression in 97.3%. AED shock in 83.8%. Advanced airway management in 33.8%. Intravascular access in 13.85%, and epinephrine administration in 6.8%. The first findings from the AED monitoring was ventricular fibrillation ventilation in 82.4% of the events, non-VF cardiac arrest in 5.4%, unknown in 4.1%, bradycardia in 2.7%, AD4, tachycardia, normal sinus rhythm in 1.4%, and malfunction of the defibrillator in 1.4%. Defibrillation was performed 0 times in 60.2% of the events, 1 time in 37.8%, 2 times in 17.6%, 3 times in 14.89%, 4 times in 5.4%, 5 times in 4.1%, 6 times in 2.7%, and 7 times in 1.4%. Time eclipse before professional emergency treatment after cardiac arrest. The average time required a patient to receive professional CPR after being found and reported was 9 minutes. The time required for the paramedics to apply the defibrillator to a patient from the time of the first report was 11 minutes on average. The average time for the patient to reach the hospital after being found was 90 minutes, and the average time required for the patient with cardiac arrest to recover spontaneous circulation was 60 minutes. Conclusion. In this study, the general characteristic of emergency treatment provided by cardiac arrest patients, witness, and paramedics with RSC were analyzed. This study suggests that in order to increase the use rate of AED and CPR by witness among the public, it is necessary to increase the installation rate of the defibrillation in public places, the provision of standardized education of defibrillation and CPR, and the provision of medical guidance. This factor affects the survivor of cardiac arrest patients with RSC. In addition, it is necessary to increase the rate of professional CPR by increasing the deployment rate of first-class paramedics who can provide professional medical care. In addition, the minimum number of people in the ambulance must be at least three to ensure the adequate professional medical care can be provided quickly. In addition, an active compensation system for the public is needed to strengthen the provision of basic CPR for cardiac arrest patients. In addition, the systemic work scope for paramedics should be developed so that they can perform professional CPR more effectively. Thank you for listening.